Let's go ahead and get started. So today is about home valuations, and it's we all should be expert at in our marketplace for home evaluations. The problem is that the buyers and the sellers now are looking to alternative of what their home's worth, either Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. They always give an estimation. So we're going to talk about why use a real estate agent instead of but it's funny because the articles that I am getting, it's the Zestimate is becoming more of a reality to this younger generation of buyers. That's becoming their reality of what they're willing to pay and what they're not willing to pay, which as the buyer's agents go away with the NAR settlement, it's really a pretty scary proposition, letting algorithms decide what anything's worth. And that just shows you where this country is headed for AI and everything else, that we can create cases through AI just because AI is pulling information off the web. And I don't I don't think the stuff on the web represents people. I think it represents just a clouded, distorted view of a lot of things. Yeah, it's great to be able to go up and take a look when my left ear hurts. After I just got done flying and scuba diving. Why is that? But you can get so many things that are wrong on the diagnosis as well. And we got to keep all of this stuff in mind because this is what we're dealing with as real estate agents. And so we're going to go ahead and dive into it. But today this is a good day for you guys to be my trainer as well. Um, some of you are more in depth on AI. I don't use AI for anything yet. All of our partners and a lot of agents are doing AI stuff. I have touted, the difference between Easy Real Estate platform and everybody else is, when you call the company, when you call our 800 number, it's not a computer answering the phone. It's a person. And that person will actually answer a question without asking you 500 prompts to get you to the right answer. The reality is, though, it's cheaper to hire a computer to answer the phone. And I say this while I own this company and I'm the major owner, we aren't going to have computers answering our phones, period. It'll be somebody that can actually direct you, get you answers, and anything else. So before we dive in, do we have any winners and losers? Any winning things or any losses? I'll go ahead and actually start it with you. Just for everybody that doesn't know, we are becoming a new company. I keep saying next week, next week, next week, next week. It keeps getting pushed back because we have brought in 10 businesses into our business. We are now not only just the Easy Real Estate platform, we are a lead gen company. We are a marketing company. We have computer programmers that are building websites and other things, funnel sites, and editing videos. Joy, as I said, is taking over the training department. The 5-week class that you guys had to suffer through, or most had never even finished it because it was too long, and I get that. But Joy is in the process of creating a 4 to 5 hour class with all that stuff condensed into it. So that's going to be launched. We are becoming a probate company. We are becoming a real estate investor company. We are becoming, so if you get my point, why are we doing this? Because when you go on a listing appointment, you are going to be able to offer the seller 10 different options. And what I love about what we've created is it's just so everybody knows this lead generation thing is very cool. When we are calling up and setting these listing appointments, so we're going to be delegating out to you here pretty quick. There is an actual two human beings that are talking to them before they ever get to you. By the time they get to you, they're ready to go. Your job to go out there, and basically what we tout is that we've got so many ways to help you make the most amount of money for your home. You can't lose with us. If somebody's in foreclosure and they need to cash out, we can cash them out. What's the cool thing for you guys about the cash out and then turning around and fixing it and flipping it down the road? You're getting paid on the A to B side, and then you're going to relist it on the B to C side, right? We're becoming a novation company, a pre-foreclosure company. We'll be at 1,500 agents by the end of the year, and that's when Deutsche Bank kicks in. They're going to release 35% of their inventory to our agents.
Wow.
That's what the written course that everybody has to do for compliance. That's exactly what that's for. Every time we get a certificate, it goes on the way to a guy named Mark Stevens at Deutsche Bank. When we get to 1,500, he's going to release those things. And the cool thing is, for you guys that understand foreclosure, in the old days, you used to have to pay the water bill, you used to pay the electric bill, you had to turn the water on, turn the water off, keep the yard up, and you didn't get squat until the home closed. Because they're not paying the commission, this is a trial thing they're going to do with us. They're going to do all the work for you. The only thing our agents have to do is a BPO once a month if it doesn't sell. So we'll also be an REO company. So when you go out and you talk to these sellers, the objective, when I go out and I've been on 5 listing appointments myself, when I've got this many tools in my tool belt here, I'm walking out of there with the listing. As a last resort, believe it or not, as a last resort, it's going to be, hey, you know what? I can sell your home, make you the most amount of money, and you don't pay the commission. And right now it's working about a 50-50 split between doing the either cash flip out, a novation, which Joey's going to be teaching everybody what all these things mean and what they mean to a seller. But how beautiful is it for us to go into a seller and say, you know what? I am working for you and I've got so many options. We're going to talk about the best option to make you the most amount of money. And how can you lose on that? Right? So the reason why we are going through the home valuation stuff is because we got to know what the reality is, where people are getting the amounts that the home's worth, and why, what's different between, the real estate aspect and because you got to be able to explain this stuff to your sellers. I've never seen a Zestimate that is spot on in the years that I've been doing this business. So, anyways, my win for the week is that I am picking up listing presentations right and left up here in Seattle with these leads we're going to be giving. Joy has worked a couple of the for sale by owners. And Joy, can you talk on that while you're on the phone, or is it?
Yeah, no, I'm sitting in traffic, so I'm fine. Yeah, it's been there. They are very well vetted leads. So again, it's basically a handoff to someone who is ready to go. Uh, so again, they're high quality leads, unlike a lot of leads that oftentimes you get through programs. They're either people that are for sale by owners, so they're currently already have their home on the market and it's not selling, which again is an easy flip, or ones that are considering it. Again, just to back up what Robert's saying is, that's one of the main reasons why I incorporated Easy, yeah, probably about a year and a half ago, was I can beat, and I'm not saying this in a cocky way, but I'm just saying it's just the nature of being able to have as much tools as I have, is that I can go into any listing presentation and pretty much beat any other real estate agent, because they just cannot offer I literally have a solution for every problem that the seller has. So there's, unless I'm not communicating it correctly, or unless there's a complete personality conflict, or unless I choose not to work with the sellers, there's no way I don't walk out with this. And I think that's a pretty powerful tool, especially nowadays with the market that it is and being an agent um, in this market, as well as it's an added bonus for sellers. I recently just had sellers that wanted to get rid of a rental property that they had. And we had talked about market price. And again, this is something I'm sure Rob is going to go over today. But their whole goal was to do this quickly. So we had that conversation. I said, hey, here's market, here's what the average comparables are saying. This is probably what we could list it at. But days on market, and I would encourage everyone to look up what their attrition rate is and the days on market in their whatever, if they're going to listing appointment, whatever that zip code is, because it's a pretty substantial number nowadays, and it's gone way up. I know here in the Nashville area, it used to be anywhere from 0 to 3 months. Now it's pretty much 3 to 6 months, sometimes 9. So that's a big difference for sellers. So we put this house on the market aggressively, had 30 showings, had over 20 people show up at the open house, had multiple offers. We were under contract in 4 days. So that's a huge win for myself.
Awesome. Thanks, Joey. Michael, you want to talk about what happened with yours with Michelle just said something about it going to open door, or they're doing that.
Yes, that's correct. I had an open house. I had 21 folks through. The house really wasn't in the condition that was super attractive to right now buyers. And I don't think at the end of the day, it wasn't priced properly. I mean, the traffic was fine, but the price could have been better to drive more traffic. And as it turns out, my seller wasn't super motivated to maximize their return, which is just a really odd situation. And they already had an open door offer on the table. And
Did they accept it already?
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm guessing.
You want to call them up? Because we can do the same thing. Maybe give them a little more money, find out what it is. And then you tell me what the home's worth.
Yeah, we can certainly do that. I mean, the offer is 271, which is what she's probably has settled for. But yeah, that's
So let me ask you this. So if if I'm being presumptuous or you can't answer this, feel free to say you can't. So 271, how much is the home worth if it were in perfect shape?
if it was in perfect shape, it would be in, I don't know, 3 to 325.
Okay, how much work does it need to get it up to perfect shape? If you had to guess,
It needs a deep clean. The yard needs to be cleaned up. It needs painting and probably a few smaller handyman repairs. Nothing major.
Are you burnt out with this lady, or if I gave you an option, would you like to go to her with another option?
Yeah, I guess I'd rather pursue greener pastures. Not that there's nothing wrong with her. She's just an unmotivated homeowner. And
So
Mike, how many square feet is the house?
it is about 1,700 finished.
About 1,700. So it sounds to me like if you threw 5 to
Hang on,
7,000
Mike. Hang on,
dollars
Mike.
in this. Okay.
Hang on, Mike. Let me do this.
All
I don't
right.
want to be here all day doing this. Would you mind giving me her phone number?
Yeah,
And
that's not a problem.
I might work something out with her and we'll get you the listing without her doing, we'll go in and do some work on the home.
Yeah,
And
she's been fine to deal with, so I don't think that'll be an issue.
all right. Anyway, so you guys, this is some of the stuff that we have coming out that we can help you guys maximize and get the listing. And sometimes sellers don't want to play ball, and so this is why we got all these other programs. And just to make something simple, there's two ways to go with this lady. She's accepting an offer from Open Door for 271. The home, if it were just deep, it sounds to me like it's under $10,000, and the home would be worth 320. Is that fair to say, Michael?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair.
All right. So what we would do is offer her we'll say 280. We'll go in and put tell her to keep the title, to keep paying the taxes, and then we'll go in and put the $10,000 into it. And then we'll turn around, we will contract Michael to go ahead and relist it and sell it. And then she'll get paid 280 on closing, and the company will make whatever's left over that. And you guys get your full commission. That's called a novation.
I was just going to say, novations are awesome when you understand them.
Exactly. And the other way is if she'll take the 271, we'll buy the thing out, put the 10 grand in, and you'll get paid A to B and B to C. So I'm pretty sure we can help you with this one. So you guys get the idea where this company is going now? And all these listings that you can go do and what we bring to the table, these are the things that are going to make us the listing Zillow when we get going. All the leads that we're giving you guys, they're all listing appointments. They're not buyer appointments. And being that we've got, 30 ways now that we can sell a home, you guys should bank more money than you ever have before. So I'm looking forward to having some fun with this. And by the way, I've been working these leads for a while now just to get the hang of it, because we've got a call center that's calling, but I had to work the leads first, so we figure out the script for the call center. And then once she does, she calls back and gives us notes. Then somebody from our company, one of the internal people, calls the people up to verify that before we send them out to you guys. And the wonderful thing is, it's been a blast because sellers haven't said no. They don't say no to anything on it. When we come in and say, we're going to make you the most amount of money, we got so many ways to do this thing, we're going to accommodate you, Mr. Seller. So anyway, does that get everybody excited? We look like we're all asleep this morning.
No, that's awesome, Robert. We're taking care of our clients better than we ever have with all of these tools.
No, it's I don't know.
Robert,
Yeah.
Robert, it's so amazing. We're just in silent awe.
Yeah, only Frank can get away with that one. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump into the train. But get excited, you guys. We're no longer just one-dimensional company. This is, and what I love about this company has never been about the money. Michelle's been with me forever. We got a whole new cast of characters that are coming aboard. It's not about the money. It's about representing our consumers the best that we can and doing what's right for them. A house is everybody's biggest investment of their lives. I don't like these guys that screw around with them and it's all about money. Here we have the chance to go in and tell people, let us come in and do what's right and make you the most amount of money. So anyways, all right, enough of the sermon. Amen, brothers and sisters. Let's move on. Okay. All right. So the home valuations now, to get the home priced right, if you go through the listing presentation that I've taught you to do, I don't know how to make it any simpler, and even I'm going to say worse. Yeah, the people that don't use the story and don't bring out the documents and don't go through the website and show them how everything works, they're the ones that aren't yielding the the prices and with the owners and getting them to play ball so that like Frank's famous quote that I've used 1,000 times and I'll probably use another 10,000 times for the end of the year. It's not negotiable, Mr. Seller. If you don't want to play the game, you don't want to price it right, let's take it traditional because it will not work on the platform. And that rings large. So a lot of the problem nowadays is because we've got AI giving these homeowners. We've got one of our very dearest friends have a home down in Seattle, across from the Sound. She looks at her Zestimate every stinking day. And even worse, she lets my wife know what that Zestimate is. And it's just like, so anyways. Anybody else get that problem ever?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. All right. So one of the things that we'll be sending out these slides to everybody down here. I think what I want to get out of this is that the Easy Real Estate Platform, we're a transparent, data-driven approach. The Easy Real Estate Platform leverages real-time data demand, advanced analytics, and expert guidance. And when we say advanced analytics, because we're pulling stuff off of the MLS and we're doing the due diligence that we can off of real prices, off of real condition of the property, off of real, everything that we do is that. So you always have to come into these things as the expert. What I wanted to get into here is when we talk about the Easy Real Estate Platform, versus the Zillow, Redfin, and others. So data sources. We're using MLS, we're using real-time demand, expert input. Would everybody agree with that, right?
Yes.
All right. And then Zillow's estimate, public records, MLS user submitted data. User submitted data. They're not pulling out, say, if there are concessions, that's not figuring out the concessions and the prices. It's not the so it's not an accurate comp. Because we can go back in and see, I sold a home for $500,000. They gave away $50,000 in concessions. Zillow doesn't know that. So they're pricing the home at $500,000. In reality, it sold for $450,000. Okay? So that's the things you got to keep in mind when you're talking to sellers. Human expertise and expertise. Of course, our easy listing specialists should be experts at figuring out home evaluations. You take a look at Zillow's, the Zestimate, Redfin, it's done with algorithms. Again, it doesn't know what the home closed for and what the real numbers are. It's only pulling the data off of the public records. And the public records are not an accurate description of how much the home's worth. Customization, highly property details, upgrades, and local trends. And then you got on Zillow, moderate, some allow owner input. Well, do I want an owner figure? All right. Is this all making sense to everybody?
Mhm.
Okay, good. All right. And then the bottom one's the most important thing that matters everything to everybody. But transparency, we got high clear methodology, expert review, varies, some explain factors, others less so. So that when we get to the error margin on the bottom, this is what I love for the Easy Real Estate Platform. Not publicly stated, but leverages expert review, which means that's you. And then you've got down the for Zillow, the 1.99 minus 3.2% for on-market homes. And I got to tell you something. This is what the NAR is saying, which I think is BS. When you're not taking into account concessions in anything, to me, it's got to be a higher rate than it. Does anybody think the 2% to 3.2 is all the differences in home values off of Zillow?
No.
So
Makes sense at all.
Exactly. So, I don't care what you want to say on it. Um, Down in the next portion, we go to, and this is more of me talking, not NER talking, anywhere from 2% to 7% minimally. I think that the algorithms are off on properties. And when you talk about a 700, 7% difference, you got a million home. What's 7% of a million? $70,000, right?
$70,000.
That seller's going to think his home's worth $70,000 more. And to me, it's minimal on there. So these are the things that we got to be able to overcome is the technology and where technology is getting the information from, and then how the information flows back into everybody. Now, the good news is about these valuations, your buyers are also looking at them. So they'll go take a look, instead of believing you, they'll go take a look at Zestimate and say, okay, I'll pay $70,000 more. How well is that representing the buyers? So
It's
anyway,
not.
exactly. So that's where as we move into this new millennium, it's going to be buyers agents are a huge commodity. And the good ones that represent their clients, there's a lot of responsibility now to make sure that they're not overpaying for a home on there. So, all right. So let's see here. So I'm gonna leave this alone with you guys, and I'll send this thing out to you. You can read the thing later. What I want to get into is something very cool that Kat drew up that really ties into this for your listing presentations, your websites, your has everybody seen the new Easy Calculator?
No.
All right, so this is on the website here. You can actually download the HTML code if you have a website. You can actually put this thing on it. You can download the calculator to have on your computer just to mess around with when you're on a listing presentation, or you can share it from our platform. And then as you scroll down, she's got website, landing emails. These are things that you can add in to your signatures to stand out above everybody else. And again, becoming more of a listing specialist, right? When you've got something like this, when we first developed this program, we had a slide that showed the platform versus traditional method, and it came out. The question was, would you make more money on a $500,000 home, Mr. Seller, selling it traditional, or $470,000 using the easy platform? And what do you think sellers always picked?
The
The
500 sounds more.
500,000. And they actually, Michelle, do you remember they netted like $10,000 less, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, anyways, it was really a cool slide, but it was very complicated to explain unless you had an engineer you were talking to. But so there's some dialogue for conversations that you guys can go through on your own. But let's go ahead and have some fun with this calculator. Okay. Accepted home price. We always talk about $500,000. If the seller were paying a traditional commission, in my world up here, I still use 6%. What do you guys want to use?
6%.
Okay. And then are we doing it 0%? Or are we going to get seller to pay 1% like Frank Macri does?
Yeah,
Let's go 1%.
You go 1%.
Okay. And then if we get the home price right, Mona and I average between 15 and 30% over market value. What do you guys want to put in here for the price increase over that your offer? So in other words, that home we put on the site, we put down for $799. It went up to 984 or something like that, or 980 in there. And that was, I think, 18% increase over the 799. So what do you guys want to put in there for a number?
I'd say
10%,
10%.
20? How much?
I'd say 10% so we can say, hey, this is a low number. Imagine it being more.
Okay, remember the seller's paying one, right?
Okay.
Make
All
it
right, so
15%.
traditional, he's gonna net 470. The easy strategy, he's at 495, and then he picked up an increase to $544,500. He made a net gain of 74,500. Pretty cool, huh? And
That
let's
is
say
so
that
much
this,
cleaner than our old sheets.
yeah, let's say it was zeros, and let's go with 5%. So you can buzz around and play with all these numbers on this site. And what I'm going to do is I am going to put that in the chat box. And then I am also going to put it's in the chat box. All right, so there's the slide deck that you should take a look through. And anybody else want to Mickey Mouse around with numbers?
Go ahead, put in the 15% increase.
15?
Yeah.
Made an extra $100,000 by using the easy platform.
Now, that's not factoring any loan balance, correct?
No, it's basically just figuring out.
Correct.
Even with the loan balance, so Frank, they're still making an additional $100,000.
Right, right.
So that all this is doing is calculating what it would be using the easy method versus a traditional method. And by the way, sellers love this frickin' thing, man. We had one made that we were using with just a spreadsheet version. And Kat went ahead and made this. Michelle, when did she do this last week?
I think so.
When did this-
Yeah, it's very recent.
So I mean, it's a wonderful tool to have, and it makes it very easy for the sellers. If you want to just get it, if you even just tell them or show them. So let me just show you without even explaining how the program works. Let me just show you, and you tell your sellers to give you the numbers for the program. And you know, if it were a home that was traditionally worth $500,000, let me just show you. You know, if I wanted to lower it down 10%, so I'm going to put it at 450, right? Let me just show you what you would do even if we only got one offer at 450. And it comes out, they make more money using the easy platform than they would traditional, with the seller paying the premium or the buyers paying the premium. So these are the kind of fun things that you can do, and just to help you, again, just tools to make it simpler to get listing appointments. And I can tell you, I have showed, I'm gonna say 50 sellers the commission sheet, the commission calculator, and they all love screwing around with it. So, and what's it doing? Use easy, use easy. I'll make more money. You'll make more money. Use easy. So that's the wonderful thing about her calculator. So that's what we got today. Does anybody have any questions, any feedback on anything?
Well, with the changes with the NAR thing, and that the sellers are only obligated for the selling side of the commission, I mean, we're using an old model. So if you just put like 3%,
Well, let's do it. So I was waiting for Frank, waiting for you to wake up.
I am doing some heavy thinking here, Robert. Don't you hear the wheels turning or creaking?
Yeah. Yeah, but we're not gonna be able to figure that out because of the buyer paying a premium on top. You know what? I'm gonna have Kat add that in, Frank. But even without putting the buyer's premium paying in there, they're still making $90,000 more by only paying the 3%.
Yeah,
So when you add the buyer paying an additional 3% on top of that, that would actually make that higher, right?
yeah.
And 2.5. There you go. 87.50 at 2.5. Well, I'm only gonna pay Frank 1%.
Hey,
He's too
Robert, we
smart for
can't
his
see
own
the
good.
screen.
Oh, well, that's stupid.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
you stopped sharing and then Frank woke up.
Okay. So we can Mickey Mouse around with this. But you know what? I'll tell you what, though, because of that thing, I think that's a great thing to put in there, Frank. Michelle, would you um have Kat add that in if the
Got a split?
well, you know what? Yeah, I think if we just go to 3, I think it's going to give us the accurate. No, because the buyer would be kicking in 3, but that's to pay their
That's to
agent.
pay theirs.
So it's probably accurate doing it this way, Frank, right?
Yeah, I'm a little confused here at the moment, but
Because if the buyer is paying for their agent, then that doesn't factor
There's no more
into,
net to the seller
exactly. It doesn't factor into the seller's net at all.
because
It comes in
the
and goes
buyer's
out.
premium is using to compensate their agent. And the up here, you're getting the seller's paying you the price, right? But you see how much less the seller, if the seller, you know, is paying 6%, and then if we put 3% in here, so the difference between the 6 and the 3 is going to be they're going to net 87,750 versus if it was 0, if they chose to pay 0, it's 105,000. So that's the way to work that. You get that, Frank?
yeah,
So whatever they were going to pay the old way, if it's 5%, and then they choose not to use the 0%, they're going to make this amount of money with that factor. If they say, well, I'll go ahead and pay you, Frank, 2.5 on that, but I'm not paying the buyer, then they're going to calculate that versus. Does that make sense?
yeah.
All right. That was good one, Frank. You almost had me confused there too.
But I would always encourage my sellers to pay a buyer's agent.
YouTube. What else does everybody have? Any other questions?
Now this is all good,
Man, that's
exciting
great.
stuff. The toolbox just got really overloaded with great tools.
Yeah. Yeah, it's we will be unveiling this stuff when we get the corporation done.
Is there going to be a new name to the company?
There we'll keep the Easy Real Estate platform, but there will be probably a DBA when we start doing category branding. And I don't know what that's going to be. One of the guys that has come into this cast of characters built he did the advertising for Porsche Patagonia. Who else, Michelle?
Didn't you Target?
Yeah, he's done like 100 companies, and
He has a long list, but
yeah,
Porsche, Patagonia, and Target are the ones that stand out to me.
yeah, so he took Patagonia and built the brand for it. Does everybody know what Patagonia is?
No.
No.
It's a clothing line.
Okay.
And yeah, I always thought it was a place in Europe. And I was wondering if people went to Europe to get that shirt, but there's an actual clothing line called Patagonia. So, anyways, but is Ron Week still on this thing?
Yeah, down the bottom.
I sure am.
Not saying much. Come on, Ron, let's go. Get in the game, buddy. So-
Oh no, I'm here. I'm just like I'm like surprised.
what are you surprised at?
Of the new innovation. I think is great, and I'm just kind of just soaking it in, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
great.
Robert, it seems like we got here at the right time.
Thanks so much for tuning into Easy Real Estate Platform's Topic Thursdays. We hope to see you again next week, and make sure you check out our Facebook groups. The links are in the description.